Hello, and welcome to another training video from the Baha'i National Organization, Office of Education and Schools, entitled Compartmentalizing Data. This presentation will look at ways that you can compartmentalize data, ensuring that everyone who has a position of responsibility in your school has access to the data they need to make your school successful. We will present some ideas about how to identify the data that different people need access to and why. We will then move on to take a look at some ways that you can give them access to that data. Some terms to know. Compartmentalize is a practice of breaking data into smaller segments and identifying who needs access to each segment. Confidentiality is a discipline where a person in an organization has access to the data they need while not having access to or seeking data that they don't need to do their job. Committees should stress the need for confidentiality at all levels. And a report is a collection of data from a system, often formatted. All of the reports discussed in this presentation are available in the CVent system. Examples can be requested from the National Registration Coordinator. Confidentiality. Keeping the personal information entrusted to you secure should be a major focus of your efforts. Remember that your guests have shared sensitive information with you about themselves and possibly their family members or friends. We all need to live up to that trust. You should emphasize this need with each person with whom you share data. So identifying who needs access to data and what data is needed. We can start by asking a few questions, and these include, what does the person do in putting on our school event? What data is needed for this person to complete the task? And how can this data be isolated and used effectively? With regards to what data, we can also ask a few questions. Do we gather this data in the registration system today? Hopefully, this was talked about during the planning phase. Assuming that the data has been gathered, where is it in the system? Can I generate the report, or do I need assistance? And if I need assistance, who can I ask? And finally, what format do we need this in? Some examples of people who need access to data. Obviously, the registrar will have access to all of the data, as this person is acting as a conduit for all the other roles. A committee treasurer would need access to financial information, including who still owes the school and who has paid. A children's class coordinator needs to have access to all children registered for the school, along with information about those children. Your check-in people will benefit from a report that shows who has registered and if they have a balance due. And the kitchen staff would benefit from having access to a count of participants who are eating and who has what food allergies. So what could we do for the committee treasurer? We do today compile an attendance and finance report for each school that uses the CVent platform as their registration. Data includes a breakdown of participants in the top section, financial information in the middle section, and funds transferred by date in the lower section. We also have a school committee finance report that's built for each school committee and has every registrant listed along with the amount they ordered, the amount they paid, and the way it was paid. Your children's class coordinator. The children's roster is helpful here. This report includes a list of all children registered along with their age, parent's name, and special information about the child. This report, exported to Excel, can be sorted and broken down for individual children's class teachers. Check-in staff. The school financial report can be used for the check-in process as it has the name, email address, and balance due for each registrant. If a person cannot remember some detail required for the check-in process, then that can be looked up. Finally, the registrar can easily record offline payments. Other reports can be designed to limit the data even more if desired. Your kitchen staff. Many schools have reports that list the names of all participants along with their responses to questions of dietary limitations and allergies. If your school doesn't already have one, it can be built. Defining report content. Determine what information is required for the person to get to complete the task. Determine what information would assist the person to complete the task. And balance the needs of the staff with the need for privacy of your guests. For example, our children's class coordinator really does need to have a list of children's names and ages. In addition, having each child's special needs and parent's name could greatly assist in holding classes. At the same time, this person doesn't need to know about finances or the photo release, so these aren't included in the report. Building your report. Building a report in Cvent can be a daunting task, as data is stored in more than 20 tables. We don't use most of these, but looking through them can be time-consuming. If you want to try to build your own report, then that's fine. You can't hurt anything in the report builder. However, if you want to have a report built by the National Registration Coordinator, then you need to define the information required. You don't need to know what the fields are called in Cvent, just what it means to you, and we will build a report and work with you to make certain it contains the information you wanted. So, what's next? This presentation is intended to start conversations about building and distributing reports for your school. It should be remembered that reports can assist you in managing your school event. If you can think of a report need, then it can probably be built. Report planning should be part of the early steps in defining what data is collected. And confidentiality should always be considered when defining reports and report distribution. Please feel free to contact the Office of Education and Schools with your thoughts or questions about your school session, this presentation, or with ideas for future presentations. Our contact information is listed below. Thank you.